review for Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. This came out 1988. It's pretty interesting. Actually, there's so many of these movies. I went back and rewatched all of my reviews. It's kind of funny and interesting. I started reviewing this series in 2014, so over 2 years now. It's pretty interesting to watch all my other reviews, and I had a giant beard in 2015, and now I have this stupid goatee that I just haven't shaved off yet. But it's just fun to see the different views, and I needed to go back because it's taking so long to finish this series, and I just kind of forget what happens in each movie, and so I just wanted to refresh my memory, and that was just kind of interesting to go through. But like usual, I like to watch one of these if there's a Friday the 13th, I'll make sure to watch one of these. I kind of want to just keep going with these and get them over with so that I don't forget, what happens from movie to movie. But we'll see. It's been taking a long time to get through this series. So, a couple things. This one's called The New Blood because the last three movies focusing on Tommy Jarvis's character. He was introduced in the final chapter with Corey Feldman, played him as a kid. And then so the two after that, and the last one, Jason Lives, it ends with Tommy sending him to the bottom of a lake. And this one, like most of the movies, they start with a recap of a lot of the movies from the series, and it focused a lot on the last one with Tommy fighting him and sending him to the bottom of the lake. And this movie, again, like most of them, unknown actors, is actually directed by a guy named John Carl Buechler. Never heard of him. Hasn't done much. Most of his directing credits are horror movies, mostly lower budget. He's actually mainly a special effects guy. Has some pretty good credits though. Just looking at his IMDb page, he's worked on the main big horror series. He worked on this movie, of course. Then he did Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Halloween 4, Ghoulies, a couple things with From Beyond and stuff like that. So pretty interesting, but most of his credits are from special effects type work. So even before getting into the plot of this one, this actually was supposed to be the first movie where Jason and Freddy Krueger fought each other. It just never happened because they're owned by different companies. New Line Cinema and I think Universal are the two companies, and they just couldn't get an agreement, I guess. So basically what you get here, they kind of deny it, but it's basically Jason versus Carrie. So Carrie from the Stephen King book. And so that's kind of weird. So yeah, basically the plot is we're back at Crystal Lake, and there is a girl named Tina, and it opens with her as a kid, and she thinks she's responsible for killing her dad, and he fell into the lake because of something she did with her mind. Then we get into it, it's years later, and she's back at the lake house where all this happened, and she's there with her mom and her psychologist, and they're trying to figure out kind of what's going on with her. Apparently she has these telekinetic abilities, and she does, she can move things and light things on fire and whatever. So it's not an imaginary thing. She can really do it. And while they're there, there's a group of kids that are going to be throwing a surprise party for one of their friends, and so she's kind of hanging out with them every now and then when she can. And then I forget what happens. She gets really mad. She gets really mad at her psychologist, and she's staring at the lake, and with her mind powers, she makes Jason come out from the water. He's been down there since the last movie. He's tied to a boulder with a chain. She breaks the chain, and he comes up, and so she basically sets this whole plot forward. That's just kind of funny. The beginning's very funny because she's a little kid, and she's mad at her dad. Her dad like hit her mom, and she runs away. She's like, "I hate you," and she goes out on the boat. She's like, I wish you were dead." And then like with her mind, she's pulls down the pier, and she's like, "No." It's like, maybe you said you wanted him dead, but obviously she didn't think it would happen. And so yeah, I mean the plot's pretty basic. It's actually when I thought about it more, it's basically the plot from the fourth part of the series, the final chapter. So that first one with Corey Feldman, same kind of thing. There's like a group of kids partying in one house, and there's kind of like a family next to them. Similar here, there's a group of kids partying, throwing a birthday party, and then next to them is Tina, her mom, and the psychologist. You know, they're interacting together. It's very similar, and yeah, it kind of goes without saying. Most of the acting's really bad, really stiff. They're just like the worst character introductions ever. They just kind of just come onto the screen, and a lot of them just don't really get any introduction at all. We don't know who most of them are. You see a couple like in a van. I don't even know if you end up learning who they were. It's very, very poorly done, and people just kind of keep showing up, and they're like in the house, and you see two people that weren't there before, and it's like, where are all these people coming from? I guess they just needed people to kill. But so yeah, all the characters are just poorly introduced. You do get like a full zombie Jason here, so I think maybe what we're more familiar with, kind of seeing him kind of come to fruition here, because he come out of the water. There's also like 10 years or so after the last movie. I can't remember exactly how long. It's kind of confusing between showing Tina as a little girl and then her like letting him go in the future. I think there's a time gap in there somewhere, but I don't really care enough too much to try to figure out the timeline from this whole franchise. But yeah, and then so we get full zombie Jason, and he's pretty much like, he finds like a tool shed and uses every single gardening tool that he can to kill people. I thought that's kind of funny, but the kills are not too graphic. Most of them are off screen. I thought it was kind of interesting, but then again, with a lot of these movies, this had the same problem with MPAA getting an R rating. So apparently there's a lot more graphic scenes with the violence, and they had to cut a lot of it to get an R rating. It makes sense. Knowing that afterwards, you can totally tell like where they made the cuts, because they'll show him going in with a garden implement, whatever it is, a giant weed whacker or whatever, and then it cuts, and you don't actually see too much of the kill. It's like, okay, it'll make sense. They're trying to get around the ratings. And similarly, there is nudity, so you get the staple of some skinny dipping, and then there's like one other couple having sex, and you see some nudity there. But it's kind of funny because you get those two nude scenes, but then there's like a total of like 5 or 6 couples that have sex throughout the movie, and you only see one of them like naked. So I was kind of like, I wonder if they actually had them all doing nude scenes, but then cut most of them along with the graphic violence and stuff. I don't know, but you can definitely see where they probably took some of the cuts. Like I said, Tina turns into pretty much Carrie after the plot gets going. Jason comes in and starts killing these people at the party, and then like everybody's running around the woods, and she like starts figuring out that she can move things with her mind. It's just so poorly done. She'll just like stare. She'll like stand there like kind of move things around, and there's an okay fire scene. She takes I think it's in the trailer. There's a gas can, and she shoots the gas out of it and onto him. And in the reading about the trivia and stuff from the movie, that was like one of the longest burns for a stuntman to do. So the guy that plays Jason in this, Kane Hodder, I think he plays him for quite a few movies. I guess I'll see when I do the next movie, but he did like one of the longest burns for a stunt. So, and I guess it was really unique to see the fire start. So usually like they'll start him on fire off camera or cut to it, and then he'll be on fire. But here you see him starting to be lit on fire, and then it's like a pretty long sequence. Apparently at the time it was like the longest burn for a stunt person to do. So that's interesting to know. He does get unmasked, which surprised me, and it's pretty bad. Like I said, it's full zombie Jason, so this has got to be the first one we see without his mask, pretty sure. And it's probably not the best move because he looks so dorky. He looks super hillbilly. He's like missing some teeth and stuff, but might not have been the best choice. Oh, and then the ending. Oh man, the ending is so bad. It's I guess it's kind of spoilers. This isn't getting a good rating though, so I don't really care. To destroy him, like they have those like false he's dead a couple times. Tina thinks she killed him by pulling down like a roof on him, but it doesn't. And then finally they go out to the pier, and she conjures up her dad to come out of the water from when he died, and pulls him down. Some dumb shit. So dumb. Like they never got his body from when he drowned before. Like when she was a kid, they just left him down there. And it's so funny. This is also like in part of the trivia that I read about it was they wanted to do more with like the dad's makeup and make him look like appropriately decayed and stuff, because he's been out in this water for however like 10 years or so. But they didn't. They just ended up not doing it. I don't know if because of money or what. But like it just looks like the actor that played the dad at the beginning, and he has like a smudge of mud on him or something. It's so bad. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they just ended the movie that way. It's funny, but it's bad. This movie's not good. The one thing that I couldn't think of was the actress that plays Tina. I didn't recognize her at all. Her name's Lar Park Lincoln. Really weird name. But she looked super familiar, and I couldn't figure out why, and then I finally figured it out. She looks like this model now named Sarah Underwood, and I was just like, why does she look so familiar? Then I finally thought of it, and I was like, okay, that's random. I'll put a picture up of her and one of the girl that plays Tina. We'll see if they actually look alike or not, or if it's just in my mind. But yeah, this one is not good. So I'm giving this a 1.5 out of 5. Definitely towards the bottom of the whole franchise. So this is the second worst. The worst one is number 3. And kind of with my new setup on my website, I have them ranked here. So like I said, it's a repeat of the final chapter, and that one is one of the best. And they just try to like make it like Carrie meets Jason, and just really doesn't work. This is definitely one just to check out if you're going through the whole series like me and need to see all of the 80s slashers or something. I don't know, especially because they already ended the Tommy Jarvis timeline last movie, and this is like another beginning. The New Blood is like a new beginning. And I have a movie called The New Beginning. Jesus, there's so many of these. So I want to check it out unless like I said, you're a diehard fan or you're gonna go through the series, and it'll be interesting to see what they do next. The next one is Jason Takes Manhattan, and I just have a feeling they're not gonna be any sort of connecting material at all from now on. So yeah, all right, that'll be it for this one.